There we go. So hello, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Allison, and I am one of the drop zone owners here at Skydive Vancouver Island, along with my husband, Gord. Gord is not here tonight. He's actually at my son's birthday dinner. So one of us had to go and he was chosen. So I thank all of you guys for attending. As you know, we have had virtual safety seminars actually for like 4 years. But last year we started doing more discipline specific or seminars that were for instructors, and they've gone really, really, really well. So I am really excited to have today's seminar, and I'm just going to pull up my screen here. Bear with me while I open it all up for you guys. Wow. This is all the fun stuff. There we go. So we have our free fly and movement safety seminar. And today it's going to be presented by Derek Klassen himself. Very excited. Derek first went for his first skydive in 1993, but really didn't get serious about the sport until 2010. Since then, there's been no turning back for this guy. He sets a personal goal to do about 100 to 200 jumps each season, and also works in the tunnel to refine a lot of his skills. He has a strong passion for dynamic flying, movement, and free fly. Derek has been on a 4-way VFS team, has trained in big wave vertical and sequential, and attends angle camps every year, producing some really wicked pictures, by the way. Derek has supported the Island Fever Skydive Festival at Skydive Vancouver Island as a load organizer. Outside of skydiving, Derek's first love is his dog, Swayze, who I love. He's a #1 Skydive Vancouver Island fan too. And of course, his awesome wife and kids. So without further delay, I'm going to pass it over here to Derek, but just to let you guys all know, we do want it to be an interactive session. It's a little bit hard sometimes on Zoom, so we're not interrupting everybody. But Derek's going to go through his presentation. There is going to be moments where he's going to stop and pause and kind of feel what's going on for crowds. If you're not familiar with how to ask a question, there's a couple ways. Down on the bottom of your screen on Zoom, you'll see it says reactions. You can click on that, and there's an option to say raised hand. That alerts me and Derek as well that you might have a question. We will get to you and recognize those, but just be patient while we do that. When your question is all done, you can lower your hand in the same area. You can also, of course, message on the chat area to the right of your screen, or you'll see the chat log there. You can put your question up there, and as we work through, we will get to that question as well. Without further delay, Derek, the floor is yours.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Just want to say, first of all, to Allison and Gord and Skydive Vancouver Island, thanks for asking me to do this, and always being just so good to the fun jumper community and just supporting us. And yeah, you guys are wicked. Everybody, hello. I think I know most of the people that are here. Some of you I haven't met, and if I haven't met you, please come up to me if you see me at a drop zone, introduce yourself. Look forward to meeting you. Yeah, so Allison asked me to do one of their safety seminars now on what I love to do, which is free fly, movement, those kind of jumps. So I prepared a bit of a interactive presentation for us to go over today. And I know some of you, like from the names I see, have some experience. Maybe some people are new to this discipline or don't quite know where they're going to go with their skydive yet. So I'm going to keep that in mind. And, kind of this will be for everybody, whether we need to just, our season's really just starting. I know Tom's coming back from California. I was just down in Florida doing an angle camp with Fly for Life. And I mean, people down there already have 200 jumps. And, I don't even have 50 yet. And I know some people are just getting their first jumps as the weather starts to get with us. So yeah, so I just want to talk about a bunch of things. So what I'll ask of you is for sure, just interact. And if you have something to say, please add to the lesson as we're some of this we might already know. We're just trying to, really, have a toolbox meeting and get this stuff out. And secondly, also be whether you're traveling or you're at your home drop zone, like be sort of a jumper diplomat and pass on what we learn to other people so that we can promote safety and we can get better and have fun skydives without that nasty part that we don't ever want to see happen, right? People, getting hurt, or even worse, not coming home that day, right? So that's sort of what I've geared it around. So I'm going to start my presentation in a bit, but I kind of just wanted to just talk and, introduce myself. Allison said a few things about me, but I just want to tell you guys about me, because even some of you that I've met, I mean, I think Dats knows me better than anybody here, but the rest of you might not know me that well. So when I started jumping, one thing that really helped me on a path was a teammate or a friend, one or two people, sometimes even just one. If you can find that person or like a small group, I think that is something that promotes safety really huge, because you're doing jumps with the same people and you're understanding how they fly and you're doing small jumps. So that's kind of where I wanted to start with it, is talking about sort of the pathway to safety, right? Like, what is that pathway before we start looking at all these parts to it, right? Which is what my presentation goes over, are these parts of the jump. I mean, we know them. I'll go into them in a minute, but planning your jump, right? We start on the ground, we plan our jump, and then we're in the plane, and then we're exiting, we're flying, we're breaking off. We're going to go into those things and talk about safety around that. But kind of what I wanted to go into first is some of the things that we're seeing, like right at the beginning, right? And you guys know about this stuff, and that's what I want to talk about. So this is sort of my Derek's do's and don'ts right out the gate. Okay. And like I said, very early on, I've had many skydive partners, and I love two-ways. I do two-ways all day sometimes. You'll see me even now. If I can do two-ways with people, I'll do that all day. And I find on drop zones, this isn't happening. People are inviting people out on jumps. People are running out to the plane late. Hey, can I join? And I mean, that's something that is adding a lot of variables to what we do, right? So that for me is something that is definitely maybe a don't, is doing larger jumps, especially when we're not current. Okay, so keeping jumps small, jumping with people that you jump with regularly, especially if you're not current, like I said, or if you're traveling, you're at a different drop zone, things are not what they normally should be. Keep your jumps small, right? An example I have of this is the reserve pull at Skydive Vancouver Island, right? We had people just trying to go and have fun, and it was a larger hybrid. I think some of you were there, you all seen this. It's an accident, accidents happen, but these kind of larger tracks, hybrids, things where people, they don't have a lot of jumps yet. Definitely, I think we should try and avoid this kind of thing, right? I know I'm not trying to be the fun Nazi, but the result of that was pretty okay. The other way, that could have went pretty bad, right? If someone was above that. So maybe we can keep our jumps smaller and not do zoo dives, right? I stopped doing zoo dives quite a few years ago. And I think this is something where, some of you on here, we have some experience. We have, we've been through that. We survived that. So if there's boogies, if there's things like, maybe not getting that loose on some of those and doing those kind of things, that's number one. Number two, practicing stuff on your own that's super sketchy. All right, there's a few things, like I have a shirt that says it on there, because as like I say, I travel around to different places, I see these common things and what these things are. And I'll first start with saying, can these things be done safely in some scenarios? Maybe, yes. If you're the only person in the sky, like if someone's dropping you out of their 182 and no one else is around, go do a solo backtrack maybe, or go like do head down by yourself. but I'm going to refer to like scenarios where it's, there are other people in the sky, and, we got to think about others. So solo backtrack is not a thing, right? Solo head down is not a thing, unless you're an experienced flyer. So I'm talking about learning. So if you want to learn to track on your back, if you want to learn to start to fly and do movement jumps, if you want to learn to start to do free fly, definitely I'm recommending coaching and jumping with people that are proficient in this, because all of the things that we practice commonly, like exit order and all these things that keep us safe, are thrown right out the window if we have a solo backtracker who's looking up at the sky, driving around, he doesn't know where he is. It is super dangerous. Solo backtrack's not a thing. Solo head down to learn is not a thing. Again, like I say, this is in a skydive plane with others in the sky. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's sort of where I wanted to start, was with should we be doing this, really? I guess that's what I titled this. Should we be doing this? We shouldn't be solo backtracking, and we shouldn't be head down alone. We should seek out coaching to do that. And zoo dives, crazy hybrids where we're pulling people's reserves, track dives where everyone's chasing each other. Yeah, let's try and promote not doing that. Lastly, yeah, I'm going to start my presentation because this will come up in there. All right, so I'm going to share screen with this and bring this up. All right, let's go. There we are. Free fly and movement safety, right? So where this starts in my first cell here, these are the moving parts and kind of what I want to talk about. So skill development, know your level. That's kind of how we start, right? That's how we think, okay, let's do a jump. What kind of jump are we going to do? That's the first thing I want to talk about. Then secondly, jump planning. This is the kind of dirt dive area, right? Where we've decided this is the type of jump we're going to do. We know that we have the level to do that jump. We have the skill, we have the ability. We're aware of our level and what we can accomplish. And now we're dirt diving. Let's plan the jump. Next would be gear. We know we need to have the right gear to do what we're going to do. Then we're in the plane. Lots of planes we jump, right? We jump little planes, we jump big planes, all these different planes, right? After that comes exits. Then we're flying. Then we got to break off. And then we got to deploy our parachute, and we got some canopy time until we land on the ground. We all know a skydive isn't over till you're on the ground. So these are the moving parts that I want to go into, and I want to address all the safety parts around that, right? And I want to note now too, I want everyone to recognize right now, there's a difference between knowing what to do and actually applying that thing. I know lots of things. I'm a carpenter by trade, and I know lots of things. Do I do it all the time? No, right? So we have to remind ourselves, myself included, that we need to apply these things, right? Okay. And secondly, one other thing before I begin, the stuff that I'm saying to you now and throughout this presentation, it's not all just coming from me. It's really coming from my experience and the people that I've learned from. And like I said, I was just with Bill Booth for a couple hours. I was just with Luis Pranetto and Claudio Cognasso. We spent a whole day when it rained talking about safety. So everything that I'm saying is sort of coming from some of the best professional skydivers that is, and I'm just trying to relay what I've heard, right? So, all right, so let's go. All right, this area here is called skill development. All right, and if my face is blocking your presentation, feel free to collapse me and scroll me out of there, because I kind of got a graph here, but because I want this to be somewhat interactive if we can. But this is skill development and know your level. So you can see two of the best coaches in the world. This is from my Florida camp that I just returned from. So you see Oscar Esfura on the left and Mamfi on the right. And Mamfi on the right here, the man that's pointing to go backwards in a pass-through move, was the AFF instructor for the guy on the left, who is a legend. I've been waiting to fly with Oscar for 12 years, and I finally got to do a whole day of coaching with him. These guys are unbelievable. So skill development, Go to events, everybody. Go get coaching. I learned 10, 12 years ago that Western Canada is a hard place. I could not get what I wanted here, guys. So I had to go to the US. I have to go to Eastern Canada. So I want to tell everybody, if you want to be a good flyer, you want to be good at this. I mean, tunnel's great, but it's not enough. We have to learn in the sky. Go to angle events for movement. Go to, if you're into, you might be into big way head down. You might be like my friend Justin. Some of you know Irish Justin Mooney. He started his year this year. Guess what his first jump was this year? 68 way head down. That's his first jump of the year. He did 5 68 way head downs in Eloy, his first day of the season. He's not doing any movement right now. He's just doing, where's my pod, holding hands with other jumpers. Because you have to focus on that, right? It's really hard to be good at everything, as I know you guys know, right? So you might be into doing the big way stuff, vertical. You might do vertical 4-way team stuff. You might do vertical sequentials, or you might do movement. Whatever it is you do, go to where they can train you and coach you, because you're the safest when you have the most skill. Okay? So skill development, that's the first thing we're going to talk about, and also know your level. I feel like a lot of accidents happen because people don't quite know their level, right? So here's an example of what I see with free fly stuff, and then maybe we'll fill in some of this stuff, okay? At our drop zone, Skydive Vancouver, we had a very close, almost double fatality. So what happened was, it was a 5-way sit. And I did this when I was not a good free flyer. And everyone on this 5-way sit was not a good free flyer. None of them can fly head down. Most of them couldn't even fly sit very well. And so they do a sit, and you guys have probably seen this, where people are way over there because they're backsliding. They're not on level. You lost that person. Where are they? They're still up at the plane or something. I don't know. They're not in view. So levels are off, distance is off. It comes time for break off. They can't break off properly. Their breakoffs have no power. They do a steep delta dive. They get no separation. End result, a male deploys, a female deploys, and he flies right through her lines. He gets severe burns on his arms, ruins his rig. He has permanent scarring from the burns of the lines. He's fully entangled in her canopy. They both cut away and survived. I was in the sky with Brymo. We witnessed this happen, like right over there. It was super bad. So that's why I say this: skill development, go get training, go learn, know your level. And what I say with that, how can we know our level? We're going to fill this in. If you can't do something successfully in a 2-way, why do you have a 5-way? I really feel that free fly should be kept small until you're proficient and you can stay on level and you can do a proper break off. Otherwise, it's really unpredictable, right? Okay. So maybe I'll just open this up now. I've talked a bit. You can see I sort of have this chart. So right here, let's try and fill in this. Let's hear from some of you. So if you want to speak, just like talk to Allison. Let's see if we can fill this in. How do I know my level and what jumps will be safe?
So guys, for those of you who want to fill in there, just raise your hand. Reaction, raise your hand, and we can unmute you.
Hey, Allison, I don't see in my bar here that I can draw on the screen here. Where's that?
Oh, good question. I will figure that out as I ask Danny to unmute.
Yeah, Danny's ready to go. He's got something to say. Thanks for being here, Danny. Danny's always been super awesome, like sharing what he knows. Danny does lots of coaching, you guys. Yeah, find that for me, Allison, because I'm going to type on the screen. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like Derek there. I kind of learned the hard way, right? I went out and did the stuff that maybe I don't want newer people to do now. But how I know my level and will my jumps be safe really comes from, for me, the feedback from those who are better than me, right? Like, I'm not a great free flyer. One of the things I want to do is try and jump, one-on-one with someone more like Derek, who is a really good free flyer, and he can give me feedback as to where I'm at, as opposed to just my vision in my head as to how good am I, because I think I'm a rock star all the time. Getting feedback is how I figure out what my level is at.
That's great, Danny. Yeah, so I was going to fill this in using the Zoom tool, but because I'm just a co-host, apparently I don't have that, but it's fine. If we discuss this, it's being recorded. People will still get that out, but my idea was to fill in this table. Yeah, I think, Danny, I think that's a great thing to say. And like getting coaching, going to the people, there's something that comes from that too, Dan, is if you're just learning off of somebody else that doesn't quite have the skill, there could be some compensating. So you might not be learning productively, and you definitely can be learning bad habits. And for me, like when I go to angle camps, I am breaking because I did 500 angle jumps without any training, and I am still breaking those habits. So skydiving is expensive, guys. Go and get the proper training. You'll be safer and you'll get there quicker because you're not going to be flying your arms. You're not going to be doing these things because the pros will tell you right away. This guy in this picture here on the right, Manfi, he led this jump. We did two flock and rolls. You can see we're in the vertical here. We did 2 flock and rolls, and then we did a pass through, and then we went back out. One person was out of this jump. He led this jump right back so that person could get back in at break off. He put that person right back in his slot. So he's flying for other people. They're amazing. You can fly with the best in the world. So why, like, go and get the coaching from these guys. Go up to people on site. I know it's hard here in Western Canada. A lot of people can't find the coaching. So try and find people like myself or someone that'll do some jumps with you, or just sit down with you and give you some good advice. Otherwise, you're going to be self-guided out there, and we know that's not safe. Did you find it,
I don't see
Allison?
anyone else with their hands up, so does anyone else have anything to add to that? Everyone's pretty quiet. Carry on, Derek.
Carry on.
Carry on.
It'd be great if you could find that.
Yeah, I'll try, but I'm not sure.
That's all right. Okay. So yeah, how do I know my level? I'm going to say I know my level because I can have a successful jump. So in the example of the 5-way where 2 people had a canopy collision, first of all, they shouldn't have had a 5-way because they couldn't fly on level. So if you can do a 2-way with your friend and say fly head up, maybe you can fly head down, whatever it is you're flying, you should be in the jump. If you're doing a jump and you're not in the jump routinely, you shouldn't be doing that jump. You should work with a coach, or you should work one-on-one with somebody who's competent so that you're in the jump. So you should be, for example, if it's a vertical jump, it's a sit fly, you should be able to exit, you should be able to fly on level, and you should be able to take docks and keep that. And when the time comes, you should be able to break off properly. So you should be able to do a successful 2-way and fly your slot not only on the jump, but you should not be traveling up jump run or down jump run. You should be able to do a successful 2-way, whatever it is. Otherwise, it's like juggling. Why are you juggling 5 balls if you can't juggle 2 balls? It's so sketch, and we'll talk more about that. So you should be able to do a successful 2-way. All right. And how can I progress in a safe and productive environment? You should get coaching and jump with people. So really, that's my first slide. It's a little bit extra, I know, but I really wanted to sort of get out this stuff. Like we see this, one of my biggest things is I go to a lot of drop zones a year. I go to 10 or more drop zones a year. And I see people, what are you doing on this load? I'll load organize when I'm not even from there. Because if I go out to the loading area and they're all just sort of standing around holding themselves, what's going on here? And oh, solo backtrack. No, that's not a thing. It doesn't exist. You're going to do something different, right? So all of you guys, I know Tom and I think Colin was in here, and Danny, you guys, you know, you're got experience, right? If you see people trying this stuff, pull them aside and go, no, let's not do that. Let's keep everybody safe, be involved in the loads. I'm sure you guys are. So let's try and do that. And, you know, people just want to have fun, and yeah, let's end zoo dives. Down with the zoo dives. They're sketchy. Cool. Anyone got something to add? No? Okay, let's go. Jump planning. All right. Danny, go for it, buddy.
I was just going to say, speaking, as one of the experienced guys in the environment, it's as an experienced jumper, it is really important for us to get out there and be willing to do those one-on-one jumps with the people who aren't as good, right? Because that's the resource they need. Myself as a coach is one thing, but having someone who is this very experienced free flyer taking out someone who isn't as experienced, that's how they're going to develop those skills and be able to step through those hoops. So it really is that community thing, like everything else is. You travel around to jump with the best people in the world, and that improves your skills. And I know on the tail end, you're willing to jump with those people who aren't nearly as good as you. And I think that's something we all need to think about across all disciplines, being willing to be, go on a jump that, you may feel is below you, but it's going to help improve your friends, your peers, and your overall skydiving community.
Absolutely. And the safety of everything. And yeah, if we spread that around, and that's what I said at the beginning of this, like if Danny, where he's jumping, and Tom and Colin and people out there on the island, if you guys can be ambassadors of this and pass it along, I think it's great. And he's right. Last year, I think I did 60 coach jumps. I'm teaching people how to fly head down. I'm teaching people how to do this or that at your event on the island. I was doing movement, and not only does it promote safety, it promotes stoke for the sport. There was a jumper that jumped with me every time. He's like, I'm jumping with you. I love that, because I would have done the same if I was him. His name is Colin too, I think. Right? Yeah. And he was, the thing with angle flying is not tracking. And people learn to track first, so they typically try and do steep tracks. That doesn't work. Angle flying doesn't work like that. Angle flying is more like free fly. And so he had a big aha moment, and he was like, oh, this is how we do it. And I guarantee you, he went home. That was the best time he had in skydiving, and he is stoked. So not only are we promoting safety, a lot of people can quit jumping because they get their license, they cruise around, they got to find where they fit in at the DZ, and maybe they don't find friends to jump with. They can't really progress because it's Western Canada, and off they go. They're done. So nice comment. That's absolutely.
Tom's got a comment as well, or a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
Go, Tom.
Yeah, I'll chime in. Like especially here, like you say, like the dearth of experienced people on the island and in Western Canada in particular. You can't always get really, really good coaching on every single jump. But what you can do often with people who have more than 200 jumps is you can bring a camera along with you, and then you can get video of your jump. And then when everyone's sitting around drinking beer at the end of the day, you can get helpful information from people who are experienced, who weren't with you on that jump, just in the video debrief. It's not proper coaching in, the one-on-one structured construct, but it is super helpful. I just did it this last weekend. I did that, I ended up counting 15 two-ways with one dude who's just learned to angle. And I'm not very good at, angling in bigger groups. So the organizers were doing a lot of really experienced stuff, and I was a little bit sketched out by it. So I just, when the organizers were doing chill stuff, I joined them for, a nice chill 5-way. And then when they were doing, much fancier stuff, I would go with this other guy, and we'd do nice 2-ways that were very successful. And he got a lot out of it. But then I got a lot of it because my exits were on camera from other guys, and they could coach my exits with this guy doing 2-ways, or they could just, look at his video of me doing, my part of the jump, and I could get really valuable feedback, even though I wasn't, being directly coached by one of the LOs. But the LOs definitely appreciated the fact that I was doing 2-ways with the guy, and they were absolutely stoked to give me feedback. So it was a super, supportive sort of environment like that, but also really helpful for everybody involved. So there's always video debrief when you're sitting around drinking beer at the end of the day. That is super helpful.
That's a great comment, and I love what you're saying, because that's how I am, Tom. I'm strolling up to people at the end of the day. I'm like, what can I learn from this conversation? What can I get? And even like you say, you're trying to get the exit. You're trying to get this footage. So I think that's great. And if we can promote people doing that, because I'll tell you, we all know this, people in the US, I mean, a lot of places jump all year round. That's one thing, but people are progressing a lot faster because they're not just hucking themselves out of airplanes, right? They're not just, hey, what do you want to do today? Want to go for a rip? What do you want? They're always sort of progressing forward. They're going to events. They're doing things like Tom just did. So they're moving forward, and their skill levels. There's people down there with 600 jumps that are almost ninjas already. So that I'm seeing people here. There's people here that have 2,000 jumps. They can't fly head down. Now, maybe that's not your thing. Maybe they, right? Maybe they do, like, I know Dats is in a wingsuit and other things. Maybe that's not your thing. But my point being is you can get a lot farther along if you do this rather than just showing up. Hey, want to do a hybrid and do this, or you want to do this or that? Try and have, and there's nothing wrong with jumping for fun and doing that, as long as it's safe. That's, right. We all are in this for a different thing, but not being safe is never okay, right? Cool.
I just wanted to add to that, Derek.
Yeah.
So as a DZO myself, right? Don't be shy. Go talk to your DZO. Ask for camps as well. I think, well, I know most of you guys on this call, and many of you jump with us. I love hosting camps. Love it. At
Cool.
any skill level, be it beginners.
Yeah.
We have amazing free flyers who will train beginners, intermediate, tracking. Derek lives across the pond. I have no problem bringing Derek over here. His family loves being here. But I think no matter where your DZ or anything like that is, don't be afraid to ask for camps, because, through CSPA, there's funding support for long-term athlete development, for drop zone owners and stuff like that who are hosting camps. So there's lots of opportunities there. Don't be shy in asking for them.
That's awesome for people. Like, you don't get that everywhere. So I think that's really great to have that support. Yeah. We'll talk more about all this as we go. You'll see these slides will lead into a lot more of these conversations. So I think it's great for that. This slide is about jump planning, and, it's about the dirt dive. And I'll tell you what I really like. I go to a lot of angle camps. I try and do 2, maybe 3 a year. And the Fly for Life crew really developed the standard for how camps run. And I really like that format. And that's what I'm going to try and pass on when I jump with people now on every jump. And that's jump planning from the beginning to the end. And we all learn this when we're getting our licenses, right? We learn about, okay, you're supposed to plan your jump and you're supposed to do breathing exercises in the plane and, all this stuff that maybe you practice or maybe you don't. But at these camps, when you're doing a jump, you plan the jump on the ground, you dirt dive it, you execute it in the air, and even your canopy flight pattern, they will organize, okay, you're going to land first and you're going to hold in brakes and this group's going to do that. So try and get in the habit of planning your whole jump from beginning to end, even including the canopy, because if you can, I've done this. I did an experiment over a few seasons where I timed when everybody landed. And I found that almost everybody landed within 1 minute of each other. And so there's no reason that needs to happen. Even with a high performance parachute, you can stagger your landing. So the thing that I would say, things that we should do for jump planning is, first of all, do it. Don't just pitch up and then let people join your jumps and it gets all, that's just so many variables. Plan your jump. And when you plan your jump, you see these people, they're all holding hands. Maybe it looks like they're doing a vertical here. Plan your jump like you would do your dirt dive. Don't let people just join in when you're going to board the plane, and do an entire briefing of the jump from beginning to end so that you know what's going on. If it's an event and you have other groups, plan your landings. Make sure everybody knows the landing direction. Make sure everybody is going to stagger their landings, because we don't all need to be coming in and landing, especially if you're at places that have a tight landing area. I know your guys's last year, it's a bit on a slope. Vernon's super narrow, and lots of places don't have a big green pasture. So what should we do? We should plan a jump. We should plan it, and we should plan it for the entire jump until we're back on the ground. Okay. Who's got something to add? Things we should do for jump planning, maybe things we should not do for jump planning.
I'll add, don't change your plan. I mean, unless it's altitude issues or anything like that, but we shuttle to our airport. And so, yeah, if your manifest people know this is our plan, this is our jump plan, shouldn't be really changed when you're in the aircraft or, you know, again, unless it's for a weather situation or a clouds or altitude situation. But because that can actually create some uncertainty back on the ground.
Yeah. To that note, and Allison corrected her statement there, to like, if you're going up and you can't see the ground, probably you shouldn't be jumping anyways.
Exactly.
But if they're going to allow you to have a sick cloud jump, wait, you guys, till you see the Fly for Life camp video that's coming out soon, featuring me finally in a Fly for Life video. But there's the second flight, I'm in the first bit of footage, but the second footage, Paul Ferriman takes a group and they basically go vertical right through the tiniest hole in a cloud, and the cameraman follows them. Sickest footage I've ever seen. It's so the depth of this shot is amazing. But if I can't see the ground, really we shouldn't be moving, because I don't know where I'm going to take you. That's about as good as people saying the backtracker is leading the jump. I mean, you're not leading a jump on your back, because where are we going here? You cannot reference the plane. That is only going to work for the first little bit. So backtrackers are not leaders, only the person that can see the ground. So if you're going up and you can not see the ground, you can switch your plan and maybe do a vertical jump only, because you're going to be going straight down the pipe. So, but yeah, that's a great comment, Allison. Stick to the plan, jump the plan your jump. Last comments?
Looks good. I think you move
Looks
on.
good. Right on.
So,
You're good. Who's that, Tom?
Go ahead, Tom.
He's connecting to audio. He's traveling, I think. So
Oh, he is driving.
yeah, so that's okay. Well, if you have something to say, let's just we can always let you say it. Oh, you ready?
we're back. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
So yeah, I think there are good times to change the plan, like you had mentioned. If there's clouds, if there's altitude, you're not going high, and that kind of stuff. But there's there's other ones as well, where like if you have a situation in a plane where, you know, someone hops in the plane last second and says, I'm gonna do a backtrack, or they're a student, they have to be included, or you have to include somebody into a group. You can just chill out your plan to accommodate the people in the group. And we had one this weekend where the LO was like, we're going to 15 grand. And we had a bit of a door issue. So we were like stuck at 15 grand for a bit. And he's like, okay, we were going to break an angle into two groups, but he's like, no, we're just going to go straight. So like the plan had an A and B option. So like, if you can plan to have options for a jump or chill a jump out if need be in the plane, that's also a good sort of option to do, because there might be an opportunity to do. It's a bit of an outside case, but there might be an opportunity for you to decide not to do something like that, and then keep it a bit safer if need be. So,
And Tom, yeah, Tom, just to add on to that, and my point being too, and I think Derek did a good job of mentioning, is don't change your plan to something more aggressive that could create problems. It's one thing to do something less where it's, if that makes any sense, you know, obviously adjusting and being mindful of safety.
And I would add things that we should do. I guarantee you, if we went out on a jump, I could rip and leave people in the dust. We should always plan for the least skill leveled person so that it's an accomplishable jump for them, right? Otherwise, you're going to go super fast, you're going to do aggressive moves, you're going to lose that person. So if that person comes and is joining into your group, make sure that the jump is suitable for their level, if they're to the lowest level, right? So plan it to the lowest level flyer, not just you and your buddy who are going to go off and rip. And we'll talk more about that in the flight section of this. So plan to the lowest common denominator. And that's fine. It can still be I'll tell you guys, and like Danny can contest to this, I know, some of my favorite jumps were with someone who could barely free fly. I've had some awesome jumps with those people. And I'm going to do a jump this year with Vanessa. I'm stoked to jump with Vanessa. She's Brian's girlfriend. People who are learning to free fly, I love it, man. I just can't wait to do those jumps. So don't think that they're not going to be good. I even had a jump with Flat Earth Mac that was unbelievable, and he couldn't free fly. He was just learning. It was a great jump, man. So cool. Nice comments, everybody. Stick to the plan, jump plan, try and brief everything to the ground. We can keep the DZ safe for everybody if we talk and we go, we know boogies can be sketch, right? Like we know different events can be that way. So if we can stage our landings, we can organize the plane better. Let's do that. Let's try and, I think like another thing before we go on is communication. So if we're in the plane, if Tom's got a group and I got a group and Dats has a group and Tom's going to change his plan, he needs to communicate that with us so we know what he's doing and what's going on. The other thing is if we have tandems on the plane, sometimes people forget about the camera jumpers. So the tandems are going to pull at 5, but the camera flyers are going to come down lower and they might even have cross brace canopies. So we need to think of them as fun jumpers too. And yeah, cool. Let's go. Our gear. All right, so I'm not going to go through this big clause here. It's basically fit, right? And I took this from, I think it was a Shooting Star, a Paragear article or something from the Canadian magazine, forget what it's called, or Parachutist, yeah. So if your gear isn't fitting you properly, did anyone see the Friday freakout of the AFF student this week? So basically this person didn't fit his gear and he was doing his AFF, looked like level 3. And when he went to deploy, he actually reached through his harness and pulled his pilot chute and bridle through the harness. And the AFF instructor had to feed it back through so that it would deploy. So obviously his gear, that's crazy, but his gear didn't fit him properly. And I'll go to a story. I'm going to try and put relatable stories because in my I guess 12 years of active seasons, I've seen a lot of things, and you know, these things actually happen, right? I know, Danny, you've seen a lot of things too, right? So there was a new free flyer, a new person learning to free fly in rented gear. Like, why are you free flying with student gear? Oh, we'll just do a sit fly. So what happens is this person has gear that doesn't fit properly. So the harness doesn't fit them properly. It's a big bulky parachute. The whole kit isn't right. It doesn't fit. So she had a premature deployment. And so when you deploy in a sit, obviously it ain't very cool. And when your gear doesn't fit, she almost came right out of it. This is now a famous video of what not to do with fit and your free fly gear. You definitely have to have gear that is properly fitted. It has to not have any gaps. If you're sit flying and your rig is lifting off your back, if you have loose harness, definitely not good. So I'd advise everybody to make sure they talk to someone who knows, talk to a rigger, talk to your DZOs, make sure that your gear is got a good fit. Okay, and you can see here it says talk to the dealer, talk to the rigger, refer to your manuals, make sure that your gear fits you properly. Okay. Next is condition and everything. Free flying movement jumps are fast. We travel at speeds. The jumps I was doing down in Florida, the pressure on my body, like we move on these jumps. So you can't have risers that are opening. I've been on jumps with people, I've been on angles, and I've seen people's risers and their whole harness leave their shoulders. You don't want that. Okay, your gear has to stay properly on your shoulders. Your chest strap should be tight, and your harness should stay on your shoulders when you're flying. And definitely, you should not see a toggle flying around. I've seen this, and I told that person, Marcus Kant, if I ever see you in that rig again flying with me, like, it's not going to happen because you're going to kill yourself or one of our friends. So your rig has to be tight, has to fit you well. Your risers have to be contained in the flaps, and replace your closing loop regularly. Don't leave your closing loop until it's frayed and broken. Make sure that your pin covers, you should have good gear that's properly covered, that can take the speeds. And when you present this rig to the wind, it's not going to open any surfaces. Your BOC and your handle should be so stowed that, I mean, free fly angles, there's so much speed there. Your gear has to fit perfect, and it has to be totally maintained. At our drop zone, we have closing loops on the wall. You can take one with you at the end of the day. If you don't know how to do it, ask somebody, get your rigger to do it, replace it before it needs to be replaced. Check your BOC, make sure your handles are in good condition. Pilot chute. I replace my pilot chute every few years. I got a brand new one right now. Scott Cave here makes pilot chutes, you guys, and they're super cheap. Get a new pilot chute. What type of pilot chute? You want a ZP or F111? Like, know your gear, because some deploy in different circumstances better. Get to know your gear and make sure that it is good for what you're going to do. So going back to the beginning, know your level, plan your jumps, get coaching, make sure your gear is good for what you're doing, because you'll come out of it, you'll have a premature, you'll rip your spine out of your head. You guys know how bad it could be. No, none of that stuff. Get a good rig. Anyone want to add to that? No, I think that's everything, right?
And
Yeah.
I have noticed that I think the AFF video that you're talking about, which I saw, which was crazy. We shared it with all our PFFIs. Yeah, so I believe someone actually just shared it. Dan just shared it, I believe, on the chat. So you can go have a look at it afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. So like the thing is you see these things and yeah, you don't want them to happen to your friends. I mean, the AFF thing, that's crazy. But I mean, this girl that almost came out of her rig, like, she's just trying to have fun. She's just trying to do a skydive. And, you know, people are like, I can sit in the sky. I can do this. I get that. I've been there. I was sit flying at 50 jumps. We all were trying to do it. You know, we don't want to just, we want to play. We want to learn, right? So we do these things. Just make sure you're fitted properly. Make sure that you do that. I hate to see people just get a skydive license and just go out and not get the mentorship. So talk to us on the drop zone. We'll help you. We'll make sure that you know that you're doing things right. I mean, how bad is it if you do something, you're like, you have an accident, you're like, man, I didn't even know that, right? Like, I just wasn't educated. So cool. In the plane, let's go. Let's do our jump. Look at this bottom picture. Look at that load. I'm in the front quarter of that. There's 3 times that behind me in this load. There's like so many people on this plane. And then there's me and some friends there in the top corner in the Sky Van. All right. So in the plane, do, all right, and don'ts. So I'm going to start first with a don't, because I've been waiting to say this and I want this to spread around like wildfire. Don't yell, go, go, go. Don't do that. Okay. If there's a load organizer on the plane, let them be in charge. All right. They can talk to the pilot. The pilot is in charge of the aircraft. If the light comes on and the light goes off, maybe you're doing a go around. Okay. If you yell, I've had this happen several times. It's, you know what? And all the time it's on a Skyvan. I guess a side door, you know, you can spot better, but the Skyvan, you're looking out the back, you're kind of going on. By tandem instructors have yelled, go, go, go. An uncurrent skydiver has yelled, go, go, go. Don't do that. Generating panic in an airplane to go, go, go is not something that any of us are interested in. The worst thing that happens is we go around and we leave safely. So don't scream, go, go, go. People can leave the plane at the wrong time. Accidents can happen. We don't want to do that. Okay. Danny Grant.
I love that one. Thank you. Dude, all the stupid, silly shit you were taught to do as a student. Close your eyes. Think about your jump. Go through the whole thing. Exit. Free fall, canopy, landing. Think about all of it. Man, if you can anticipate every move coming up in the skydive, you're going to have that much better with the skydive. Yeah, you might look a little silly with your eyes closed going through things, but you know what? If everyone does it, we all look silly and we can all have a laugh.
Nice. We got some more people. Tom.
Sort of leading back to your previous point about fitting the rig, you've
Yeah.
got like somewhere between 10 minutes in a fast plane and half an hour in a slow plane to sit there and just look at the back of your buddy's rig or at the front of your buddy's rig. That's a really good opportunity to actually do a really good, not official gear check of just like checking out the rig to see what it looks like, and also real gear check if you want to check a pin or whatever. So outside of, you know, the other stuff you're about to talk about, going back to the previous one, that's the best opportunity to check out other people's stuff while you're just sitting around doing nothing.
I knew you were checking out my stuff, Tom. I knew that.
Can't
You
stop
might,
once.
yeah, that's a great point. You might catch a chest strap not routed properly. You might catch anything like, and we can say that in the plane. In the plane, I've seen a pilot chute come out in the plane. I've seen a reserve deploy inside a plane. So keep your eyes open on people's gear all the time. You might see, oh, that chest strap's wrong. You might see anything, man. The things that you can spot by looking at other people's gear. So like Danny says, think about the jump, think about what you're doing. Maybe you do breathing techniques. I do. In the plane, I have a system that I do all the time. I know Tex, who's one of the best angle flyers in the world. Tex has a routine in the plane that he does every time. And he's one of the best angle flyers there is in the world. And he does the stuff Danny's talking about, that first stuff you learn in ground school about mentally preparing. So if he's doing it, it's not too good for us.
And Derek, I'll just jump in about the plane stuff. Obviously, we had one of those issues at our last boogie here, and multiple things on a root cause analysis regarding that whole incident in itself. But it's even understanding the severity of what could have happened in that situation. For our situation, obviously, there was confusion. Pilot side, words got transferred incorrectly. I think in a lot of coaching, we always don't ever do the don't do this or don't do this, right? So lots of education there too. But there was a group of jumpers that did get out of that plane, and we have what's called the Rajet Star through here, which is where all those big, you know, 767, whatever, what are 747s from
Commercial air traffic.
Yeah, China going into Vancouver come, and they're like at 8,000 feet over Nanoose Bay. Our tracking group and fast trackers jumped out, and they were probably about 3 miles, 2 miles maybe from a 747. And so I think one of the things too in all of that is, I love when you say don't forget your things when you were a student. You should refresh yourselves all on spotting. You know, they were obviously in a wrong spot away from our drop zone as well. They all made it back, barely, but did make it back. But I think it's important. We've relied very heavily on technology today in this world, in our aircrafts, GPS systems, ForeFlight, all of that. But there's still an accountability on jumpers to spot for yourself and everyone else in the plane for you. You know, obviously DZs have different rules as well regarding what kind of communication to the pilots, but don't forget to refresh yourself on proper and good spotting.
Yeah, and I hope we can really pass this on, because I see that as a very wrong thing. And what happens though with this scenario is the people that are yelling go in the sky vans, they're right behind, they're always the ones that are right by the pilot. So if you're at the door, you think they have communicated with the pilot. So you think they're speaking for the pilot and they're saying go, go, go. So the people that are at the door first to go, that's very confusing for them. And in this scenario, there was a load organizer who was right there. So the people that were yelling go should not have even spoke, in my opinion. That should have been a communication between the load organizer and the pilot. That load organizer should have said, hold on, everybody, just I'm going to talk, then communicate. That should have been an instant go around, which is what he was planning anyways. So I think communication in that, people should just let people talk, right? Yeah. Anyways, cool. So yeah, plan your jump. Don't look at other people's gear. Make sure that if you see someone have like a pilot chute come out, if someone's reserve deploys, if something nasty happens or chest straps off, if you see something, make sure you don't open the door. You communicate to the pilot. Another thing I'll add is watch your movement. You shouldn't be moving around, tossing about. You know, if you have people sitting on a bench in front of you, you could accidentally pull someone's reserve. You could dislodge handles or something like that. So keep your movement to a minimum. Make sure you've taken off your seatbelt at the correct altitude. If there's an emergency and you have to get out super low and you've left your seatbelt on, you've now become an entangled thing for everyone to try and get past. So make sure you put your seatbelt in the appropriate place, so it's not a trip hazard or anything like that. And this is for all skydive, not just what we do, of course. But So I think, yeah, communication in the plane, planning your jumps in the plane. Yeah. I think we're good. Exits. Very dangerous part of a skydive. And, you know, I'm not going to talk about belly exits because that's a real long conversation. I see what I did there. They do the leg kick and then they're like not gone, and then they do another leg kick and they're still there, and then three leg kicks, they're gone. Now, with what we're doing, exits for free fly, if you don't exit properly for free fly, you're done. Like, you're hosed on the jump. I remember my first angle jump. My first angle jump I ever did, I remember not exiting properly and looking down and going, are they landing right now? Like, that's what it looked like. They were gone. It was such an aggressive dive. I didn't understand how they could do it. So exits for free fly, no matter if it's vertical or movement, are crucial. So like Tom said, he's been practicing his exits. That is a huge chunk of what you need to practice, because if you can't exit properly and present properly with the right timing, you're already out of the jump. And you got to do more speed than what they're already doing. So it's a real catch-up game. So for exits, what should we do? What should we not do? All right, who wants to talk? If not, I'll fill the silence, but I know some of you got things to say. Let's hear from somebody. There's some of you that haven't talked yet. Come on, don't be so shy. We got any on the line, Allison, or are they being shy?
They're being shy.
They're
I don't
being
know.
shy. All right.
Quiet group here.
Fine. You want me to do it? I teach all day too, you guys. I'm losing my voice. This is my second. Danny wants to get in there.
Danny's in there.
Yay.
Remember your basics. It goes, you know, the belly guys think it the wingsuiters, the free flyers angle. Remember your basics. Whichever surface you're flying, that's what you got to present. If you're the guy leading on your back, not leading, but being on your back, you got to be prepared to present that out of whatever aircraft it is. Be aware of, you know, Boogie with the Skyvan. That is a very awkward set of air to have to present on, because you go from nothing to everything like that. So be aware of how your exits are changing, aircraft to aircraft, group to group. Are you throwing chunks? Are you going out individually? Where's your timing and all this? Keep those kind of thoughts in mind.
All right. Monica wants to talk. Awesome. Go ahead, Monica.
Okay. So for things like what we should not do as well, you mentioned previously to plan a successful jump around like the weakest jumper or whatever. You should also take that into consideration for your exits as well, because if you've got a jump planned and you're confident that everybody's going to stay in the jump, that's great. But if you plan like, oh yeah, let's do like a, you know, 4-way head down exit, and one person is not super familiar with the head down, they're like, oh, we'll just wing it. Well, no, because then they're already out of the jump, as you said. So like you said, plan the whole jump from start to finish, including setting up a successful exit so that everybody can be in on that exit as well.
Absolutely, Monica. And we do this quite often. You know, if you're a real strong flyer and you have another strong flyer, I'll put that person as my cross partner, and I'll give the less experienced jumper a good position to exit from, right? So, and that's safety, right? What if you put that person in a hard spot and maybe they don't get out clean, right? So thanks, Monica. That's a great point. I'll add to this some things I've seen. I'll just say the things I've seen. I've seen a jumper break her arm on exit because it was a large piece and she had her arm at the rear float and she had her arm inside. The whole group left, but her arm stayed lodged in. So the group pressed against her arm in the door and it broke her wrist, her pull hand. That's not cool. That's not good. So if I say one thing about exits, we need to get out of the plane without any problem. That's my number one goal. I need to get out of the plane without rubbing my gear on the door. I don't want to get my pilot chute on the door. So whenever I go to a plane, I'm going to turn my back so that I am completely, my rig is out the door. My rig goes out the door first, and then I position myself. I never go out sideways. I never do anything. I grab the handle and I turn my rig out, and my rig goes straight out the door every time. That's how you exit a plane. You get your rig out, and then you're not going to rub it on the door. So make sure where you're holding, you might be in a big clump. You might not go at the exact same time. No matter what happens, make sure you're not drugged through that door. You want to make sure you get out clean. So get your rig out first, get yourself positioned, and get yourself positioned in a way that you're not taking up the whole door. You should be standing so there's room for other people. Otherwise, you might be presenting in a certain way where you're not going to present to the relative or in, right? You might make contact with the door and injure yourself, or you could drag your equipment across the door or other things. So make sure that you present your rig out the door and get out properly. Otherwise, you can be hurt. Another thing, the Skyvan. You guys know I talk about the brackets of death. So the brackets of death are the bumpers for the Skyvan door. So if you jump out of a Skyvan, there are two things that you cannot do. One is hit the brackets of death. So if you scrape the wall, you're going to hit the brackets of death, and it's going to cut your leg, possibly deploy your gear. Oh my God, I don't even want to think about that. Severely cut you. I've seen suits wrecked on the brackets of death. You got to get out clear. Secondly, you can jump to leave on your back and you can smack your head on the floor. We had this happen last year in Alberta on the head down record attempt, which they got, a small 8-way, but the jumper jumped out, presented his back, and hit the base of his skull on the bottom. He was almost unconscious. Took him days to get over this. You got to get out clear of the aircraft, whether it be a Skyvan, whether it be an Otter, a 182. You need to make sure with 182s, the door goes up. Sometimes there's handles there. You got to get out so that you don't scrape your gear or have an accidental deployment on the top of the door. We know sometimes the doors go up and you start to climb out and the door kind of maybe doesn't grab and it comes down on you. Make sure no matter what plane you're in, you get your gear out safe and you set up so that you can leave safely, because those are really, really bad things. I mean, flying in a successful jump is one thing. Injuring yourself on exit is why we're talking today, right? That's safety. Danny Grant.
Just related to that, and it goes for any skydive. Just before exit, do a handles check.
Absolutely. And that's why I love you guys being interactive with me with this, because I'm not going to mention everything, right? We're going to talk about, but yeah, I mean, we should check our handles. I check mine routinely before exit. And as I'm going to the door, I hold my BOC. I kind of hold it. I get to the door and then I turn my rig to the door. I back out the door and then I set up wherever I'm going to be, front float, out on the camera. But it's all about my rig. I'm never going to just shove my rig through people or something. So we definitely should get out clean. We should set up in a way so the jump's successful, but also so that we're not going to get trapped in that doorway in any way. And with things like the Skyvan, get out clean. Don't hit your head on the floor. This has happened. People have hit their heads on the Skyvan floor. I don't know how many times. Like, I never would want to do that. That's an easy way to go to AAD town, man. No, thank you. Okay.
Tom, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so when we're talking about angle flying and free flying, which, I mean, at the base of it is just going real fast. And then the exit is faster than a standard belly exit or, you know, anything else. So like realistically, you're just trying to go fast right off the hop into some fast moving air out the door. So for an exit specific, that means that things can go wrong fast. So like the crux of it, if things are going wrong, you can't hold on the same way you can hold on to a belly jump, or else you're going to break people's wrists, you know, kick people in the head with a lot more speed, that kind of stuff. So specific to angle flying, not so much angle, usually not linked, but mostly free flying, static. You know, when things go wrong, they go wrong much faster. So you have to be that much more accepting of the funnel, let go and rebuild than other disciplines.
I agree, and yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Is that something that we'll talk about pretty much now in the next part, because we're leaving the plane, right? And so that's everything about what we do, and the safety there. So I see Pete's got his hand up. I'm just going to say, I had one thing that I was going to say on this. For free fly and for angle groups on exits, you really want to designate. I know we're not really talking about flying here. This isn't a flying lecture, it's a safety lecture. But when you're exiting, we always know if we're going to be popping or dropping. All right, so we can't just leave a plane in an angle group. We might have a bunch inside and some outside, but if you're outside, you know if you're going to drop and the person in front of you will pop, because if we all just let go of the plane, we're all going to be in the same air column. So I will drop and the person in front of me will pop, and then the next person will drop and then will pop, so that we all have clean air to fly in. If you don't do that, it could result in you falling right on top of somebody. And there could be an injury there, or you could just get out of the jump. So brief, know if you're going to be popping or dropping, so that you get clean air when you leave the plane. So set up safely and know your slot and do your job, essentially. Pete.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
One thing I haven't heard you talk about is exit order and exit separation, especially mixing belly, movement, and vertical. And I'm curious, especially if you want to talk about movement before belly. So.
Yeah, great. So there's pretty much a standard exit order that goes around that says, you know, flat flying, belly flying should be first, larger groups to smaller groups, followed by free fly, larger to smaller groups, because belly flyers, of course, have a ton of ground coverage because of their drift. And that's pretty much the way that I agree with, and the way that I experience it. Belly flyers being first, then free flyers, and then large groups to small groups. Tracking, you know, as opposed to other things like wingsuits, obvious, tandems are obvious, things like that. Tracking and angles move away, right? So really you can get away with putting tracking groups first, because they can go far off of the jump line. Whereas if a belly group left behind that, they would travel towards them, but the tracking group would already be well off of the jump line. So can it be done safely? Yeah. Would I do it? Probably no. I'd probably put the belly out first, and I would go after them. And when I'm jumping and when I'm at events, it's very common to have 3 groups of angle flyers, and we're moving all over the place. We're doing turns, we're doing this or that. So as far as that order, and I will say too, in that regard, when you travel around, make sure that, because some people are gonna address boarding order when you're at the plane. They're gonna address boarding order, which is obviously the reverse of exit order. So just make sure you're aware what they're saying. This is the boarding order, and then we'll get out that way. So don't mix that up, and then you're in the wrong place in the plane. But definitely, because of drift, belly flyers should be, in my opinion, first, with high pullers obviously being last. Students can present a problem in this as well, because sometimes students are there, and a lot of DZs don't want to put students out last, even if they're opening a little bit higher, because they're going to be way out in God's country, and if they have a cutaway, so they might want to put students first, opening at $4,000 or something like this. So I would say for Pete's thing is stick with the plan. Belly groups first. Tracking groups can go first safely. It might not be my I wouldn't organize it like that. I would let the belly groups go first, and let them drift off into the country, and then I would put out angle groups, mixing in the free flyers, because I don't want free fly groups to, if free fly groups aren't experienced, I want to break those groups up. So I can easily break those up with tracking groups that open out off of jump line. So I would do belly groups, biggest to smallest, maybe students, and then I would do a tracking or angle group, a free fly group, and then a tracking or angle group the opposite direction. And I try and break up the free fly groups, and then high pullers, wingsuits, and tandems. That's how I would organize.
Can I share a bit of an experience where an angle group or a tracking group insisted on going in front of our belly group?
Oh, I've heard this a lot. Yes, please do.
This just happened last year, and when the Skyvan was over here in Alberta, and it was what appeared to be a fairly experienced tracking group, but basically when we followed them out, we left 10 seconds, if you can believe it, and that Skyvan was traveling at 105 knots.
Yeah.
And when I tracked off, I was looking down at 4 canopies from the original tracking group. So if you put trackers out first, make sure they can actually get away.
Yeah. And that's the first thing, Pete, that I said, is that, you know, you have to be competent. So going to his point, I wouldn't put them out first. It can be done safely if it has a proficient leader. And what I would do, if anyone here jumps at different places in the US, you know their rules. They're obviously flying around the sky doing different things. They're not navigating properly. And that is the problem. If you are a leader on a movement jump, your goal is to navigate. That is your primary concern, is navigation. You should know where your intended opening point is, and that's where you should go. And until you are an expert angle leader, you should never turn around. You should only go off of jump run, because you do not know how to turn back properly and not go back towards other groups, under other groups. So if I was a DZO, I would ban people from turning back or doing big turns, because now they're driving all over the sky like a drunk driver. You can have anything happen. In Arizona, you can't do that. Tracking groups can only go off jump run and off to that way or this way, towards the mountains or towards the, you know, the way the runway is. That's it. Until you are an expert, you should not be doing turns, flock and rolls, pass throughs, or turning back towards jump run, or you're gonna kill your friends. Period. Hands are raised.
Go ahead, Danny.
It was just a message, you know, like I said, drop zones around the world will have different rules, different orders. We all generally share the same basic set of rules. But what it really comes down to, especially if you're new at a place, and whatever's coming out of the plane, talk to people. What are you doing? You know, you're going out first. Okay, where are you going? Where are you expecting them to be? Because just like Pete's example there, you should expect to see them somewhere. So you've got your eyes open looking for them where they need to be, but also where you're not expecting them to be. Got to have that communication. Without it, we're all just guessing.
Yeah, and awareness, Danny. Like Peter just said, he said, I seen canopies below me. Good for you, Peter. That's great. I opened over a tandem last year, and I opened over an airplane this year. So there are going to be things below you at some point. And if you're looking down, hopefully you see that and you can grab onto that handle. And remember, always give a wave before deployment. I know sometimes you might have to pull quicker, but you know, you don't want to rush something. And we're going to talk about that because we're getting into flying soon. Last hands there, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Tom.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, me again. I mean, there's going to, like Danny said, there's DZs around the world that have, you know, very different rules. And it's probably for a good reason. I'd like to think there's not many DZOs who are going to make, you know, really crazy decisions to depart from the norm without having a good reason to do it. I was just this weekend in Skydance, where there's this student field that's about a half mile from the main landing area. So when they're landing to the north, they default on putting students out first. So we were doing this weird thing where we'd have, like, when it was windier, the students would go, the tandems would go, a speed skydiver would go first before the free flies, and then we'd have movement going either side of the free fly. And the thing is, it worked. You know, everybody had good separation, and it was fine. And the reason why it was fine is because there was really effective communication, you know, preloading between the groups to manage the spot effectively, so that everybody was getting a reference to their intended landing area with good separation between groups, and then the groups are tracking in the, you know, appropriate direction. Bringing it back to, you know, local stuff that we do here, SVI, we have ample space, you know, east, west, north of the drop zone, so we can break off the jump run east and west or north and south, and then have movement groups have their entire portion of the sky. And, you know, wingsuiters can share that as well. And as long as everybody's communicating effectively, there isn't going to be a huge problem, provided they're actually, you know, following through with the things that they say they're going to do. So that's really the biggest key here is, you know, pre-plan the exit and then just make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, and Tom said it right there, and Pete said it too with what had happened. This is evidence of a near miss, in my opinion, is your intention and what you actually do are two different things. You have to have the skill to be able to execute what you say you're going to execute. You can't just jump out and do a rad jump. I mean, as much as we all want skydiving to be that, you have to have the skill to be able to execute what you want and open where you say you are. I think people don't really realize, when I was on a 4-way VFS team, so VFS is vertical freestyle, right? It's a straight down jump. I got coaching from the world champions, SDC, Skydive Chicago Core. So our coaches were Jason Russell and Stephanie Strange. And she goes, so this is a multi-world champion skydiver, right? It doesn't get any better. And she's like, those angle jumps are sketch. I'm not going to do. So I don't think people give them the weight of what they are. They are very complicated. They have a lot of moving parts, and we have to make sure that our leader is doing the right job, or he's going to run us into Peter, or he's not going to do what they're supposed to. Cool. So the last thing I'll say about exits is in the way of what we see at the bottom of the screen here. We see a multiple plane, big way, free fly jump. So when you're on these jumps, you're going to be designated as a floater or a diver. So if you are a floater, you're going to leave the plane first, and your job is to stay below the base. If you're a diver, you're going to dive out after the base, and your job is to stay above the base. If you're a floater, and by the time the base comes, the base is coming down and you're down here floating on your back, you transition to head down. If you go above the base, you now have done what they call fliving. You're a floater diver, and you're going to get cut. Okay, so if you're a floater, you need to stay below the base and join the base at the same speed. Otherwise, you float above it, you're now a fliver, you're a hybrid floater diver, and you're in the way of potential divers and a collision. Same thing if you're a diver, you should not go below the base. Otherwise, you're in the floaters territory and you're a problem. This takes timing, and most of us have done this. I did it. It's usually just a little bit. You come up a little bit and then you can join. When I was in Eloy doing sequentials, we were doing 20 ways, and it's cool to do these big jumps, 18, 20 way open accordions head down and making rounds out of them and flipping pieces. But yeah, for exits, if you're a floater, you need to stay below the base. You should not go above. Cool. Awesome. So know your slot, fly your slot. All right, let's move. All right, exits, flying. We're there. We've left the plane. So I've got a couple of pictures here. This top one is sequentials in Arizona, and the bottom one there is the Fly for Life camp I just got back from. I thought it was a nice picture. You can see me over here, back flying right there. It's a great day of jumping. So Tom said this. He said this the best. The principles of every type of jump are the same. You leave the plane, you fly on level, you fly your slot, you do your docks, you break off. Like, the principles are the same, but free fly, and when I say free fly, I'm including big way free fly, sequentials, I'm including angles, I'm including, all of this stuff that we do, dynamic flying. It's faster. You're going faster. The exits are faster. The flying's faster. The decision making is faster. The break-off's faster. It's all faster. So we need to be able to move at that speed. So we have to have the level. And we talked about this already. Keep your jump small until you're competent, or it's a potential hazard and an accident can happen. So here we see flying. We see safe. We see not safe. So I want to hear from everybody. When we're flying, when we're free flying, we're vertical or we're angle flying. What is safe to do? What is not safe to do? Let's go. We got some new joiners there. I seen you join, Justin Mooney and Blake Langley. Let's hear from you guys. Come on.
Rapid changes to belly or back while you're head down, corking up.
Corking. Blake, you nailed it, man. The sentence, when in doubt, belly out. I mean, that's a joke. You definitely got to keep the speed up, right? So if you don't have the skill, that's when you're going to accidentally go to belly or present. So that's why do you have a 5-way? If you're going to cork, you can't cork on a free fly. If you're on an angle, we had in my group down at Fly for Life, we had a person, it was very short after exit, so it wasn't that bad, but he presented wrong and he ended up rolling into a ball and hitting Petter Svensvold, who is like a legend of free fly in Norway. And then he just balled up and fell through it. So this should never happen. Corking or balling through, you should be able to do your job and fly your body and keep the speeds up. Rapid speed changes can result in collisions in air that are terrible. So this is down and up, and this is sideways. I mean, Danny, you know how many people in wingsuit skydive have sliced someone in the sky. So sideways movement, we definitely need to make sure we don't do any rapid speed changes. Very bad. Go ahead, Danny. We can't hear you, bud.
Hear me out?
Yeah.
All right, to build off of Blake there, your head's on a swivel, your eyes are open, you're aware of everything happening around you, because you don't know when that guy just in front of you is gonna cork. Now it's you and him going at highway speed, being ready for anything. On a positive note, being ready for that next move. Do you know the jump? What is your anticipated next maneuver? Always thinking.
Yeah, I agree with that. Your circle of awareness. I think a lot of people get sort of this tunnel vision, or that this is right in front of me. But if I'm flying on my back, I'm looking at the leader, I'm looking at the people beside me. And when I was down at the last camp, I was amazed at their awareness, and your awareness will grow. You will get better and better at this, but just the awareness of where everybody is. And because in the beginning, you're kind of worried about you're not worried, but you're concentrating on your flying. And it's like your head is a part of this, which it is, but you can still do the same maneuvers while turning your head and making sure your airspace is clear. So don't just move over there and not look and then go. And everything should be kind of like, take a breath and then do the movement. You don't want to, the thing with free flies, you get, it's kind of like Spider-Man, right? With great responsibility, with great power comes responsibility. You can't just, I know Kung Fu and start freaking, carving around and hitting your friends. So you need to definitely look first and then do your movement. So some of the sickest flying is slow, guys. You just, you look and then you do your movement. So speed changes, Blake said, and also awareness, Danny said, and I'm saying, look and then move. Don't dart at somebody. Don't dive at somebody. Allison.
Altitude awareness. I know, just as someone who audits all of the AIM reports here in Canada through CSPA, we had 2 AAD fires last year. And that's altitude awareness, huge. Doesn't matter how experienced you are.
Valid. Yeah, really good point. All right, we got any other comments out there? I can't see everybody, so I don't know if people have their hands up, Allison. So
not at the moment. Oh, we've got Justin. There you go, Justin.
I'm Keith. Right on.
How you doing, guys?
Hey.
I suppose just a small thing on you were talking about like flying in a formation and angle flying. Like I know when I started off, at least I was very like timid when I was close to the leader, and I was always trying to keep 20 feet away from him because I didn't want to interrupt anybody or kind of burble anybody. But I soon realized that like the closer you are to the leader in an angle, the more safer you are, kind of thing. The closer everybody is together, because it happened to be kind of pretty early on, like when the leader was taking, say, a left turn and I was off to his left, I wasn't really ready for it. And now that 20-foot gap can actually, you become a meat missile basically if you're not ready for it, So yeah, I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. Like, just like the closer you are, the better, the more safer you are, rather than like keeping these like wide open angles with like bodies all over the sky. Because like if you've done so much work to be able to get 20 feet away, you can 100% close that 20-foot gap. I think a lot of us are just kind of afraid when we start off. We're a bit timid and we don't want to cause any burbles, but it's so much safer to be, that couple of feet away and causing maybe a little bit of a burble rather than having these mass gaps kind of thing. And especially on break off then as well, because you got bodies all over the sky kind of thing. So yeah,
I'd like to add to that as well. Yeah, I found, like, just from my personal experience on angles, just if there's going to be a turn in that jump, make sure that you're where you should be in terms of where the leader is. So if you're on the far side, you need to be a little bit ahead. If you're on the near side, you need to be slightly a little bit level towards a little bit back, because he's going to be turning and you need to be like on his shoulder the whole time. Yeah, just that.
Great comments from two boys smoking a joint in a hot tub.
Oh,
I wish I was in there with you guys. Basically, what they're both bringing up is when you go to get into angle camps, or you do angles with your friends, you really should be able to fly your slot. Just like any type of skydiving, you should be in your slot. So Justin said if he's in his slot, if he's flying his position, he's safer. Of course he is. He's in the jump. If you're not in the jump, you're a potential hazard. So you should be in your slot, and you should be on level. Like he said, if we're about to do a turn, if you're on the outside of a turn, it's pretty easy to get hosed. So Benoit Lemay taught me that if I'm going to do a turn and you're on the outside of the slot, I have a way of cheating a corner. So he taught me how to cheat this corner. So I position myself on level, and being angle jumps have weird levels. You got to learn how the levels go, but you should be able to see, if you're flying on an angle jump, you should be able to see the top of the 3 ring. If you can't see the top of the 3 ring, whether you're on back or belly, you're not on level. If you can see the GoPro on the top of the head, you are not on level. So you're too high if you see the GoPro, you're too low if you can't see, if you only see the 3 ring. You should see the top of the 3 ring. And if you're in that position, you're safe, and you can also see their body, because after a while, they're not going to communicate turns and changes. So you can see how they're moving their body. You're in the right position for the movement, and you can react and respond to their movements. So being on level is a huge flight thing. And I'm glad that the two gents brought that up. That's awesome. Danny.
Yeah, they kind of stole my first comment there. Stick to the plan, right? Especially when we're in bigger jumps. Stick to the plan. Don't be a wild card, because people aren't expecting that. But I thought I'd draw that back to the earlier conversations and the plan. A lot of us are jumping out of 206s, 182s. We're not in big groups, but that doesn't mean we don't need a plan. You know, do tracking dives all the time. 4-way tracks, we often just jump out and go, and you know, there's 4 of us. It's really not that much mayhem, but it's the perfect time to set a plan. Let's set slots. Let's practice actually flying. Going back to the fact that small group jumps are way more productive. And that's the time to practice the skills for those 10 ways, 20 ways, those moving jumps. Practice that on the small planes, in the small groups, and stick to the plan.
I'll add to that, Danny, with a mistake I made. You know, like we all make mistakes. I mean, I'm definitely not sitting here saying, don't do this, don't do that. I've never done it. I mean, a lot of this I've learned myself, but I once didn't do a proper head down break off because it was just me and a friend carving. We're just carving, going this way, doing snakes in the sky. And then the jump ended. So I just did a duck dive down and off I went. And we were spinning around so much, I didn't know which direction he really went. And then I start looking, I'm like tracking beside him. I'm like, oh, I thought I was going the other way, because you're upside down and you're spinning around. And I should have stuck to the plan, and I should have 180'd away like I would have on a bigger jump. So Danny's totally right. Don't break your principles just because you're on a small jump. Try and stick to that plan the whole time. Got any more?
Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I missed a bunch of that because I was going through the border. But this goes back to your initial point about knowing where you're at. For flying in particular, for angles in particular, there's like the stepping stones. You know, when you first start learning, you're kind of a little bit wobbly and you're a little bit slow and you don't have a good idea. But then you get, you know, stick to a quadrant, and you have that quadrant that you can stay to. And after that, you're able to get to your slot. And after that, you're able to move the group inside that slot. Mm-hmm. But like, it's a bit more difficult to free flying, because it takes a lot longer to get to the point where you're really confident flying a head up slot in a bigger group or a more complicated jump. But for angle flying, it is pretty much, you know, you can't do anything until you're able to actually get into the jump. And it starts with the quadrants, and then it goes to the slots, and then it goes to the other parts of the jump where you're changing around.
Absolutely.
That's all I got.
And that's great. And you guys are contributing so much to this. And that was my whole plan with this, is to get everyone talking. It's great. there's nothing wrong with flying your quadrant. There was a point where I could fly my belly really good, which honestly, if you know anything about angle flying, almost everyone's strong side is their back. Back flying, if you go to a camp, most people are working on their belly, but I started the other way. I did a whole bunch of belly and then I went to my back. There was a time when I could only fly my quadrant, but I forced myself. I could fly my slot sloppy with bad habits, but I'm in there, I'm rocking, I look like an idiot. But I forced myself to fly good posture, and I fought through that. So force yourself to fly, and maybe not be the best on that jump, but fly with good posture. You should fly like you stand. It's real simple. You don't have to go into these contorted, hunched over, legs bent move. You should fly like you stand. You should almost be perfectly straight up. And if you can only fly your quadrant for a while, but you're flying it well, that's better than flying your slot bad. So that's one thing that I would add. Fly your quadrant, and once you're flying your quadrant, you can fly your quadrant all the way to break off and do a good break off. That's great. Soon after a while, you'll be flying your slot and you'll be doing the same thing, but do it properly. And the other thing I'll mention is I see a lot, because people aren't getting proper training here in Western Canada on angle flying. So angle flying, like I said earlier, is not tracking. So I see a lot of people chasing after steep leaders, sometimes on their back. We know the back flyer is not a leader because they can't navigate using the stars. They're not out yet. All right. So you can't chase an angle jump like a tracking jump. The belly flyer should be ahead of the leader and the back flyer is behind. So even if I say got knocked out on an angle jump, there's no way I would be chasing it. You don't have the power to chase after. So please don't chase after angle groups because you're a meat missile. Okay. If anyone puts on the brakes, you should definitely be flying to the outside and approaching from the side. Don't chase after. It's a losing game. It's not good for you, and it's super dangerous. It's not steep tracking. It's a free fly. And if you look at the bottom picture here on the screen, you can see that the belly flyer that took this image, he's a little bit high, but he's in a good slot up ahead, whereas the back flyers are down and we're on head level. You don't want to be way up in here bulleting down after a group. That's not what we do, and you're missing something. And coaching is the answer. Cool. Anyone got anything else to add? We talked about sudden speed changes. We talked about flying your slot. We talked about positioning yourself right and being on level, not corking. Next is break off is what we'll go into. So again, this isn't a flying lecture, it's a safety lecture. So we're just, trying to start this season with the things that, matter as far as safety, right? Cool. All right. I think time is moving, so we'll go on to the next section, which is.
Hey Derek.
Yeah, go ahead.
That flight plan as well. I've been jumping around a few different places, and this angle thing is charging in with some newer jumpers, and the flight planning for how they're going to move inside that load with the other jumpers that are there seems to be something that's lacking in the angle planning. Instead of just, we're going to go out, we're going to do an angle. Well, where are you going? Is there another group of trackers on that load? How are we breaking it up? Are there any wingsuits on the load? So yeah. I think Blake, you joined us a bit later, and that's a great comment. Peter brought that up because in Alberta he had a group leave first, and his and this group didn't navigate properly, and they ended up kind of being underneath of them. So yeah, I advised, like, only expert angle flyers and movement flyers should be moving jumps, and definitely turns and coming back towards the flight line is something that should only be done in the right environment. You have to have the skill to be able to open at your intended opening point. It's pretty easy to go vertical and get turned around, and I've done it in my learning thing. It can happen. You can get turned around. So flight planning, navigation is, the leader doesn't only set the angle and the speed, they set the flight path. And that is if they have to slow down, if they have to open higher, whatever they have to do, their job is leading you on a safe, productive jump. So if they can't do that right, you don't jump with them. They shouldn't be leading. And I'll tell everybody, like right at the beginning of this, you guys who have joined us late, I talked about
getting coaching and going to events and knowing your skill level before you do these jumps. We all see the videos and they're super sick and we want to do them, but you got to do them safely. And the real coaches are out there, and we won't get bad habits if we learn in a good environment. Like I said, I'm still breaking bad arm habits from teaching myself, but there's also a thing called the leaders workshop. So once you become a pretty good flyer, you can take the leaders workshop online or go to places so you can learn to be a leader. Because I'll tell you, the leaders at these camps that we attend, the whole plane is moving groups, and they're all doing spirals and pass-throughs and flock and rolls and all these moves. And so there's people all over the sky. So that takes a lot of skill. Leading is very challenging and very complicated for these jumps. So yeah, make sure you're with somebody who knows what they're doing. And if you're on a plane like Pete was and he's doing a jump and they're going up in front of you, like, watch out, man. Like, I'm always, what are you doing in front of me? What are you doing behind me? So if I'm organizing that load, I try and put a safety factor in. So if Peter's group is about to jump and these guys are coming in, I can put other groups in there that might space this out, so I can I think about these crazy scenarios, and hopefully I can prevent that from happening by adding a buffer, something that'll leave separation. But if they're crazy driving around, that's super dangerous. I mean, that's, it's like a blind grandma in a parking lot. Like, what's she gonna hit, man? Everything. Okay. The most important part of the jump is right here, break off. All right. So I talked about the canopy collision at Skydive Vancouver. That was because of not a proper break off. So if you're doing a vertical jump, as you see here, you can see they got around and people are starting to break off. For me, if I'm breaking off from vertical, it's head down. If you're head up, you're going to flip head down and you're going to clear your airspace. If you're already head down, you're going to turn 180 and you're going to clear your airspace. So you don't want to just all of a sudden track off. You don't all of a sudden want to put on the air brakes and go to belly or back. If there's somebody above you, like a camera flyer or another jumper, you just bellied out. You just corked intentionally. What's worse than corking unintentionally? Corking intentionally. So you got to keep the speed up. If you're in the piece where everyone should be, we should all be right here, right? If someone's on this jump and they're not here, there's a problem because they're not in the jump. So something's missing. If we're all here, we should keep the speed up because the jump's still going. So you stay vertical and then you turn 180, you look and you start to fly like this, looking like your head down and you're just moving forward. I can see everyone in front of me. Okay. And then I slowly, as I clear the jump radius, then I'm going to start to slowly fly angle, 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 flat, 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 flat. And I'm going to stay where I have the best visual. Okay. So that's how you have to break off from a jump that is vertical. You have to turn 180, normally in a head down position, and you have to look, clear your airspace, because tracking without looking is a potential danger. So like Danny said, your awareness, you need to look, clear your airspace, start to move still vertical, and then slowly transition. You cannot stall your vertical speed, and you cannot just track off with your GoPro pointing like a jousting stick. You need to look where you're going. Okay. If you're head up and you're a newer flyer, that's where I see a lot of potential for problems, because you really need to work on your break off, because you can't fly head down yet, maybe. And you're going to kind of just roll out of your sit onto your back, probably, because you don't want to belly out. So when you do that, keep your jump small, because you can't clear your airspace very well, and you need to learn to fly head down still. So I would advise to really work on your break off, clear your airspace. You can turn and look, keep your speed up in the middle, and then once you've cleared your airspace, make sure you get a good efficient track. Okay. If you don't get a good efficient track, if your track is steep, if your track doesn't have any power, you're not getting the separation, and you're going to be close on opening, which we don't want. But if it's just a two-way, you're probably pretty safe. But if you're, like I said earlier, you're adding more people to your jump when you don't have the level, you're not getting a good break off. And the other thing people do, especially early season, is they pull too quick, right? They're ready to get on that handle because the ground is coming. and they pull, so they haven't got the separation. So remember, track like your life depends on it, because it does. We want to clear our airspace, and we want to boogie. We want to get out of there. We want to fly, 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 making sure we're looking where we're going and our airspace is clear. And we don't want to pull too early. And before we pull, we want to give 2 big waves. 1, 2. The other thing I'll say before I let people ask questions is, and I made this mistake. If you're on a jump, maybe it's an angle jump. Okay, when we do an angle break off, we're already breaking off. We're already moving, right? So don't stall your speed. Don't like, oh, the jump's over. I just lost so much momentum. Your momentum is carried through to break off. And if you are on your belly, the belly flyers on the angle go wide. The leader goes straight, and the belly flyers go almost 90, and they go wide, and the back flyers fan out through the middle. So don't be that belly flyer that just goes straight down the middle. You should be going the widest on the break off, and the back flyers should fan out. If you're on your back, you should be the lowest person, right? There shouldn't be anyone below you. So don't turn to your belly and lose all the people above you. Stay on your back, because those are the people that are a danger to you at this point. So stay on your back. You can see everybody. Don't flip onto your belly too early. Stay on your back so you keep that visual. I made that mistake once, and I came pretty close to Jean Larac, and I don't want to see Jean Larac, French guy. So stay on your back. There's all the people. You see them going away. The belly flyer should be going wide. Stay on your back, turn over. And then it gets to that, are we going to barrel roll or not? I asked this to Luis and Claudio at Fly for Life. They don't do it. Jeffro does it, and he's pretty experienced. So I don't have a solid answer for you. I mean, how many? Luis has 22,000 skydives. Jeffro probably has more. One does it, one doesn't. Luis and Claudio prefer to just do a shoulder check. That's what I do. I have a look around, make sure no one's there, and I do a solid 1 wave, 2 wave, handle, pull, right? But that's what I would say. Make sure that you get a good visual. Make sure that you break away so that you get good separation. Don't pull too early. Look where you're tracking. Stay on your back or your belly if you're in a position so that you see the people that are the immediate danger above or below you. Okay, and it's mainly back flyers turning on their belly too early, because that's how we deploy. But you just turned your back to everybody that might be tracking above you. They might not see you. You can see them. Larac didn't see me. I seen him when I opened my parachute. Hands up, who's got things to say? Break off. What's safe? What's not? Keith, go, buddy. Unmute yourself.
I was just going to say, you know, we always dirt dive, but we should always dirt dive the break off too.
Yeah.
That's you know, at Skydive Vancouver, we've got a bunch of angles together. You know, the core group. We still always dirt dive the break off, just so we know. It's just peace of mind at the end of the day.
Yeah. We talked about that, Keith, and I'll add that so you hear this part too. What I liked at Fly for Life is we briefed the opening and the landings as well. So we staged everyone's parachute flights. We basically had everything dialed to a T. It's so awesome and amazing. And I'm going to share a lot of this with us as we jump this year together.
Yeah.
Sick, buddy. Nice comment. Danny.
More of a question. I'm wondering your opinion or outlook on, you know, clearly not every jump goes well. What do you recommend for jumpers who lose the group? Jumpers, you know, halfway through the jump, they corked out, they couldn't get back in. Are you one of the ones that say, you know, we've got a cutoff altitude where they leave, or is it stay with the group until break off?
Yeah, great comment. So what I would say to that is you don't want to be a problem for the people on the jump you're in, and you don't want to be a problem for people who left the plane before you or after you. So you don't want to deploy high or do something crazy. You don't want to turn and go opposite directions really on the jump, because what if someone else isn't in it too, right? So I would say that you stick with the jump. You don't want to meet missile after something and be a potential problem. Always fly to the outside. You should never be diving at a group in any skydive. So I would say try and stick with the jump and try and get back into the jump, but on the side. So with angle flying, like I say, it's a losing game if you're diving at it. If you're on your belly, you have to go ahead and then down. If you're on your back, you have to go down and then ahead. So you kind of are like cutting them off at the pass, if that makes sense. So I would say stick with the jump. Don't dive at it. Try and get where it is and try and keep a visual on the jump. You need to keep a visual on where the jump is. You'll see them all break off and you'll see them all go. And if you're still tracking kind of after them, but not diving at them, you can deploy at the regular opening altitude and you can see them all open up ahead of you. No one should ever on a movement jump turn the opposite direction of the jump. Of course, we do that planned as a flock, but you should never turn the opposite direction ever. Stick with the plan, fly the direction. The leader should know, a competent leader will know someone's not in the jump. And if they have to change the jump, like if I'm doing a turn or a different type of maneuver, I'm not going to do that if that person's not in the jump. The jump is now simple and straight because I can't account for that person. I'm not going to clock a turn and then all of a sudden hit this person. Okay, so that a good quality leader is everything. You have to make sure that you do it safely. And if someone's not in it, like I talked about Manfi, he knew this person was out of the jump. He's doing a move this way. He's going like this and we're all flying this way and he goes like this. He sees that person. And then he's like, okay. And he goes back this way and Buddy goes right in his slot. Like he just sat him there. So stick with the jump. Don't dive at it. Go to the outside. You're still like Tom said, you're still working on things. Don't give up, man. Don't give up on it. Just don't be dangerous. Go the same direction. The leader should change the jump and not do any crazy turns. Fly to the outside and try and get on level. Try and get to where your slot is. Okay, don't, you know, cross overs and do all this crazy stuff. But if you do everything you can to get back in the jump and then at break off, you're in your slot, you're where you're supposed to be. And the other flyers will go, oh yeah, there you are. And off you go. And you will be better for it because you've learned to work on your speed. Yeah, that's it. It's my opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah, brother. Any others? Mr. Mooney.
Yeah, just a small thing on head up movement break off as well. Just because like obviously that's getting so popular now and it's a really sick way of flying, but it's like, you know yourself, it's like break off can be spicy as fuck, like just because you burn so much altitude so quick kind of thing.
And you got to do flips.
Yeah, you have to do flips or a cartwheel or a cartwheel onto your fucking belly or something like that. So especially when you're just kind of learning as well, like you burn up loads of altitude real quick kind of thing. So if anybody's kind of thinking of getting into that and starting playing around with it, just break off stupid high, like a 6.5 or something like that. You like give yourself plenty of time kind of thing.
That's a fantastic comment, Justin. Yeah,
because I think we started years ago, and it was at Mamie one time, and like you just before you know it, you're at fucking $3,000 like in your stupid low. And so the higher you break off, the better, which is when you're kind of starting off for the first while at least. You know what I mean?
That's a fantastic comment. Yeah, so you set your ditters a little bit higher to 6, like Justin said. You're working on stuff, so don't do it at 5 like we normally do. And the thing is with these jumps, you're already moving, so you've already generated this power to track away from each other. We're generally on an angle, and like guys, you see stuff sometimes, like we are vertical. We do vertical. We go back the other way. We do a lot of. And you'll get there. You'll go from quadrant flying to flying your slot to going vertical to going I remember it was a dream of mine to angle on my belly, go vertical and go the other way. That's all I wanted to do. And now we do it all the time. Like you'll go through these steps, but do it up higher. You've already generated the movement. It's not like another jump where you got to build up that power. You're already moving. So give yourself more altitude and it'll be safer and more productive. Someone had their hand up there.
That was me. I put my hand back down, but that's kind of like half the fun of angles is that if you get the speed going, you're absolutely nuking at breakoff, such that breakoff is just happening. Like you're already nuking so fast that you can just get miles and miles and miles of separation. So like while you're young, you're starting off, you might as well bake that into the plan where, you teach the new guys to nuke it, gradually getting flatter and have all that fun towards the end of the jump. So that $6,000, you're already getting all of the stuff ready for a break off, and then you just fan out. So that's like the baked into it. Free flying, totally different when you're static. That's just fun.
And when I was just at Fly for Life now, we all went out for dinner one night because it's their 10-year anniversary of running their camps and their team. And they showed a video that Richard made. And this is an interesting fact I don't think a lot of people know, is when Richard joined Claudio and Luis for Fly for Life, Richard joined Fly for Life. He had 50 jumps. And he could fly with them. That's blow my mind. Like, what an anomaly of a person to fly at that level. 50 jumps, no tunnel, 50 jumps. This guy is like unbelievable. But he had made a video that no one's seen before. It's not out yet, but it's all a bunch of old footage of them learning to, fly as a team together. And they're flying super steep in all of these videos. And it was really noticeable right out the gate. And it made me think back to when us, Justin, Keith, Brymo and us, we were learning to fly angle. We were so steep, man. Like, we were almost head down. We were just ripping through the sky doing this stuff. And now you ask them, they're like, if it's more than 45, it's too much. Like, yeah, we go vertical and we go the other way, but general angle flying is about 45 degrees or less. And it's super fast and exhilarating. And some parts are flat, some parts are vertical. But yeah, it really started out very steep, and now it's not as steep, but man, are you moving? You are really moving. So I love it. I'm super stoked on this season. I hope everybody is too, to get out there and do some jumps, man. Okay, that's break off. The most, dirt dive it, plan it, do it properly, clear your airspace, track away, don't pull high. Well, I'm not saying, maybe your plan to pull high, but don't pull short so that you don't get canopy separation. Deploy, canopy time. Like I said when we started, we don't brief this, and I think I love that about the camps that I've been to, is they plan this. So if you've got multiple different movement groups, if you've got other stuff, maybe you might have different landing fields. Use them. If some can land over here and some can land over there, I don't care. I'll land in a student area. I got the whole student area. Knock yourself out. You guys all go rip over there. I'll go land over here. I don't mind. It's right there. It's a short walk. At Skydive Vancouver, I've got a Warren path where I land all the time. Nobody lands where I land. It's great. I'll go over there. So you can plan to stage your landings. Like I said, I timed this for 2 seasons. Everyone lands at the same time. Now think about this. Western Canada, super uncurrent people. Maybe not the most skill development, right? Bunch of people go into a boogie in Vernon. This is a real story. I'm not just shooting the shit here. It's a real story. Brett's place had, you just moved to the other area, and it's long, but it's narrow. There ain't no girth in this field at all. It's super narrow. At that event, 2 people almost died. So one hit a fence and tore his legs to crap. And the other person flared with their fronts and smashed their head into the ground and broke a whole bunch of stuff and pelvis and stuff. Okay. And that's not good. So it's a tight landing area. It's why is everybody landing at the same time? Uncurrency, like all of the recipes for disaster were there. And the result was 2 very serious accidents. So we definitely should plan for not just our landing direction. I mean, that should be talked about at the beginning of every load. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. If, winds change drastically on the way up, like, I mean, of course, we don't want to land downwind at crazy knots, and, that may have to happen. Fortunately, that doesn't happen too much, but we should brief our landing direction before every load, and we should agree on it. And we should also basically talk about, maybe you guys land first. Who's got the small canopies? Who's got this or that? Maybe this group hangs and breaks. So we have the ability to stage our landings, and we're not doing it. I guess that's my point. We totally have that ability. And that's what we did at this camp. This camp was so well done that every day you were on the same load with the same groups. There was 3 movement groups on every load I was on, and I was in group 2, group 1, and group 3 were with me every day. That never changed. And we communicated and we staged our landings like perfect. And Justin, you know, ballistic last year, we had like 50, 60 participants. People were raping the pond one after the other. People were landing here. It was complete chaos of perfection. Everybody, like, you weren't worried about anything. I mean, so with experience, with planning, we don't have to have this stuff. So I know we're talking about free fly and movement, but this is a very dangerous part of every jump. We need to break off, deploy safely. For canopy time, I mean, let's maybe plan for that as well. Comments? That's my spiel, everybody. That's pretty much all of it. So
I was just going to add to that, Derek. Don't be afraid to land crosswind. I know, just so over here on our wonderful drop zone,
yeah.
you know, obviously I mean, you haven't actually landed in the little part, I don't think, Derek, but so our regular B field and higher is very, it's small. It's smaller, very jumpable though. If I can land in it, anybody can land in it. But you know, we get sometimes very fixated on into the wind, and obviously for good reason. We're taught that in those kind of things. But you know, the canopy doesn't fly you fly the canopy, and you shouldn't be, the canopy doesn't know if it's crosswinds, it doesn't know anything. So it just, I think we've really, you know, just be careful, know your drop zone that you're jumping at. And you know, our old DZ at Qualicum Beach, pretty much all landings were crosswind. And so just being educated on that and understanding, hey, this might be crosswind landings, and that's okay for safe patterns.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you go back to your training, like we've mentioned a few times, your number one rule is to land safe. That's it. Not land where you intend, or land into the wind, really, which is, I mean, landing into the wind is a great thing to do, right? Some of us love landing downwind, right? Because, you know, you're more experienced, and especially crosswind. Some landing areas only have 2 directions to land. You can land this way or that way. So if it's crosswind, tough titty, like you're doing it. So get coaching on your canopies, right? Like Danny and all the Kamloops guys are great canopy pilots. I've always admired that about the Kamloops DZ. They always worked on their canopy piloting, and they have been hands above a lot of our drop zones. And so I think that's a great thing. And I definitely need to do more canopy training myself, but I'm confident landing my parachute downwind, crosswind, anywhere I need to. And that's an important thing to be able to do. So land safe is number 1. Land where you want is number 2. Land into the wind is a great thing to do, but if you can't do that, definitely don't make any sudden rash changes down low, right? You're going to do, like, we all know, like low turns. And I mean, we're talking about free fly. We're talking about stuff moving fast. If stuff's moving fast, if people are yelling, go, go, go in the plane, like we don't want. If people are, you know, what I got to do, I got to break off. I'm not in, I'm not. So everything will escalate on you. And in canopy flight, you can't have that. We need to be like, you know, that's free fly. Like when I'm flying aggressive, fast free fly angles, when Justin was just doing 68 ways, he's in his helmet and he's breathing, just constant breathing, constant heart rate. That's free fly. If you're not Mr. Zen, you're a tense ball of not good flying, and your thinking needs to be slow like that. And canopy is one of those things. And so we all have had it. I've cleared trees with my feet. I've landed over here and over there, downwind, super. And you got to have the skill to be able to do it safely, but don't rush that and make a bad decision. That's how you, I mean, we all know people who, I mean, I don't know how many accidents I've seen of full on legs broken. I've seen a fatality from this. I've seen broken pelvises and all of this. I mean, even full on head injuries, it's bad, right? We cannot mess around low to the ground and try and do sudden turns to avoid obstacles and other things. This is the basics of skydiving. So, and I will say one other thing to that. Where do these accidents with canopies happen? They happen like 500 feet and lower, right? Because at 2,000 feet, you thought you could get there, or you thought you could do something. If you were up higher going, yeah, could I get there? Maybe I could do that. When you're thinking maybe, you have a potential shit show. Could I just go over there instead of trying to clear the trees? Could I go over there and land just fine? And it's just a little bit of a walk, or they come get me. If you're thinking maybe, don't go for it. Go over there, do that, because it's going to escalate quickly. And now you got a holy shit moment. And the other thing too is winds and shit. We had winds down in Florida to a point where me and Hannah Parker was with me. She's a very experienced jumper and rep for Performance Designs. We're all like, nah, we're not going to go. And other jumpers are ready to go. Can you do it? Can I do it? Yeah, I can do it. If everything goes right, no problem. But what if I have a chop? I'm leaving the next day. My parachute's flying to friggin' Disneyland, and I'm going to have to go fetch that. And then what if I'm like low on trees and I got to land downwind? It's going to get hectic. So just like we talked about planning your jump for the lowest skilled jumper, if you're going to do a jump that day, make sure that you're planning for the worst shitstorm that could happen, right? Don't plan for, oh yeah, this is going to go perfect, because you might have to deal with the other end of the stick.
And again, Derek, just like you said about all the other thing, coaching, get coaching. I know that you guys over at Skydive Vancouver, we bring in Flight One crew. There's other great canopy courses. Z Hills, phenomenal for those of you who want to do more advanced stuff.
Ballistic Burnaby.
Ballistic Burnaby, So just like any other discipline, canopy piloting is a beast of its own. Last year, we did have Nick Helfridge. He did a canopy piloting safety seminar with us. It was phenomenal. And I'll be sharing all of them soon. We're just trying to figure out a way to share all of the safety days. But so yeah, definitely something to be mindful of.
Yeah. So yeah, like as we end up, I just want, like, you know, I know you're recording this and you might have some newer jumpers. Come say hi to us, get coaching, know your skill level, do small jumps, do 2-ways, find a partner and just do 2-ways until you can do a jump repetitively and stay on level. Don't add extra people to these jumps. If you're losing people on your jump, if you're off level, your jump is sketch. Okay, free fly, make sure your gear is good. Make sure that all the things that we covered in this, if you shouldn't be doing a jump, you know, it can be dangerous. And like I said, things like solo backtracking, solo head down, these aren't things that we should be doing. So, and everyone who's in attendance, like, spread the word, man, and be a role model for people who are, you know, a lot of people are just looking for their place on a drop zone, and they've got a license, but they don't quite know what they should do and what's dangerous or not. So we can spread that around. Yeah, thank you.
No worries. Well, Derek, I cannot thank you enough. I mean, I am not a free flyer. But as a DZO, I love, you know, just understanding and making me better to be able to provide resources for our fun jumpers. It's huge.
Oh, you guys are awesome for doing it. I mean, you know, I've said to you before, like, everyone just loves you guys, man. Like,
well, we love everyone too.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know what? I know for us at Skydive Vancouver Island, we host we're a Cessna 206 182 drop zone. And we try really hard. Something that COVID actually came positive for us out of it is actually really understanding the importance of small camps, really personalized camps. And be it those are great for beginners. And we always think, oh yeah, you know, we don't want to have more than 3 people in a brand new learning to free fly. But at the same time, I've also recognized, you know, to your point, you know, if you can't do amazingly in a 2-way free fly, or, you know, an angle, which everybody is working on in this kind of stuff, you know, you have no business being in a 5-way or a 6-way on our plane. So even really reducing those camps. And so we've been really blessed to have some leaders on our side. Derek, I will put an open invite. I would love you to host a camp out here. Especially we do have some really, Tom, I know he works hard. We've got Jen McKinnon, there's others. Ben Kirkland, we're blessed to have Ben Kirkland working for us.
Ben's a great flyer, great guy.
Yeah, so, you know, I'd love to put these little small camps together, because I find that those intimate ones will prepare you for those great big gigantic ones that you're raving about and stuff. So really important. And I encourage everybody, no matter the skill level, find camps that suits you and that can push you at the same time. And
you don't need turbine aircraft to learn how to do it. One of the best planes for this would be a small 182 with a strut. You can get a couple backflyers under, most of us, like Danny, you know this, a lot of us started that way, and we started tracking and doing stuff from, you know, from Iggy and little planes like that. They're fantastic for that. You don't need 12,000 feet even. Some of my sickest jumps from 10,000 feet, four ways, I'd train four ways out of that thing all day. And I've been trying to get a small angle camp with a couple coaches going in Skydive Whistler, where we could do like, we could camp up there, we could have food, and we could do like 2-3 days of just angle out of that little plane. I think it would be a fantastic time, man. And you'd learn so much in a very short period. So if we can get things like that cooking, that'd be great.
So again, not only Derek, thank you, but to everyone who attended, really appreciate it. It's really heartwarming to see a lot of our local DZ people on here. I've actually had, just in the time this meeting's been going, I've probably had about 13 people just texting me being like, please record it, please. And so, you know, and don't be shy, share. I'll be posting this onto the Canadian Fun Jumpers comments where I advertise for the camp or for the course. But thank you to all of you guys. It's actually you guys who make me as a DZO and Gord as a DZO think harder. You know, safety is of utmost important, bottom line. You know, people don't need to die in this sport. So the more we can keep people safe through education and awareness. Yeah, so really appreciate it. I am going to actually stop the recording. So again, thank you everybody, but of course, open free for all for everybody if you would like to keep on chatting. So again, from Skydive Vancouver Island, thank you so much. That is a wrap too of our 2022 virtual safety seminars. So until next year, but always every day is safety day.
Thanks, Allison.